Every single day, 70% of people wake up already stressed. A study from the University of California, Davis, found that high levels of cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, are linked to physical and emotional damage. And here's where it gets scary. Most people don't even realize their brain is working against them. But what if I told you there's a way to actually rewire your brain? What if you could train your mind to bounce back from life's hardest moments instead of breaking down? That's exactly what this course is about. Emotional resilience isn't some magical gift that only a few lucky people have. No, it's a skill. And today, you're going to learn how to build it step by step. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact science of what happens inside your body when stress hits. You'll discover the specific habits that the happiest, most successful people use to stay strong. And most importantly, you'll walk away with a clear action plan you can start using tonight. So stay with me, because in a few minutes, I'm going to share a simple breathing technique that, according to research published in NPJ Digital Medicine, can reduce your stress levels within just weeks of practice. But first, let's understand what's actually happening inside your head. Deep inside your brain, there's a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your brain's alarm system. This is the part of your brain that makes you jump when you hear a loud noise at night, makes your heart race before a job interview, or gives you that sick feeling in your stomach before a difficult conversation. Research from Nature Neuropsychopharmacology shows that this little structure is among the most well-understood circuits in all of neuroscience. It detects danger, real or imagined. And when it goes off, your entire body shifts into survival mode. But here's the problem. Your amygdala can't tell the difference between a tiger chasing you and your boss sending a mean email. To your brain, stress is stress. And when that alarm keeps going off, day after day, it wears you down. Your sleep suffers, your mood drops, your health declines. Now, emotionally resilient people, they've learned to control this alarm system. According to research from the Melissa Institute, resilient individuals are better able to modulate emotional responses and keep their amygdala in check. And the good news? You can learn this too. Stay with me. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There's another part of your brain that sits right behind your forehead. It's called the prefrontal cortex. This is where you do things like planning what you'll have for dinner next week, deciding whether to spend money now or save it for later, and thinking about what might happen if you quit your job. Research from Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience shows that highly resilient people have stronger connections between their prefrontal cortex and their amygdala. What does this mean? It means the thinking part of their brain can calm down the emotional part. Imagine having a boss inside your head who can say to that panicking alarm system, "Hey, relax, we've got this." That's what a strong prefrontal cortex does. It dampens the effect of your amygdala, which supports resilience and recovery. And according to research in social cognitive and affective neuroscience, the connectivity between your amygdala and prefrontal regions is what predicts success in managing your emotions. People who can control their emotions have tighter communication between these two brain areas. Now, let me show you how to strengthen this connection. Let's talk about cortisol. When your amygdala fires that alarm, your body releases this stress hormone. A little bit of cortisol? Actually helpful. It gives you energy, it sharpens your focus, it's what helps you finish that work project at the last minute, run faster when you're late for the bus, or stay alert during an important meeting. But here's what nobody tells you. According to research from the Pacific Neuroscience Institute, when cortisol stays high for too long, it actually damages your brain. It can shrink the prefrontal cortex. It can harm your hippocampus, the part responsible for learning and memory. It can even contribute to inflammation and cognitive decline. And that's not all. Research from RGA found that chronic stress weakens your immune system, increases your risk of heart disease, and accelerates aging. Your body was not designed to be stressed all the time. But here's the secret. Certain practices have been proven to lower cortisol. A meta-analysis published in Health Psychology Research found that meditation interventions efficiently reduce cortisol levels, especially in people who need stress reduction the most. Now I'll show you exactly how. Let's start with the first pillar of emotional resilience, mindfulness. A landmark study from the University of California, Davis made a groundbreaking discovery. They found that people who practiced focusing on the present moment had lower levels of cortisol in their bodies. This was the first study to show a direct relationship between mindfulness and that stress hormone. And the implications? Huge. It means that simply paying attention to the present can physically change what's happening inside your body. According to research in the journal Psychiatry, mindfulness meditation training was associated with an attenuated stress response. What does that mean in simple words? After meditation training, when stressful things happened, people's bodies didn't freak out as much. A study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that even beginners, after just an 8-week course, showed decreased morning cortisol levels and better sleep. And people with years of meditation experience, their cortisol continued to decrease the longer they practiced. This isn't some woo-woo nonsense. This is science. Let me give you something practical you can start tonight. According to the research on mindfulness practices, you don't need a silent retreat or a year-long course to get results. Just 10 to 20 minutes a day can make a real difference. Here's what you do. Sit quietly. Focus on your breath. When your mind wanders, and it will, simply bring your attention back. That's it. Don't judge yourself. Don't get frustrated. The goal isn't to clear your mind. It's to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Research published in NPJ Digital Medicine analyzed 101 studies with over 20,000 participants. They found that digital mindfulness programs showed favorable effects on mental distress and on building resilience factors. So even using an app on your phone can help. Now here's something crucial I'll share later. Mindfulness alone isn't enough. To build true emotional resilience, you need to combine it with other practices. Stick around, because the next pillar might surprise you. The second pillar of emotional resilience? Movement. And I don't mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. I'm talking about consistent physical activity that changes your brain chemistry. A systematic review in the International Journal of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity found strong evidence that resilience mediates the relationship between physical activity and mental health. That's a fancy way of saying exercise makes you more resilient, and that resilience protects your mental health. But it gets better. Research from Frontiers in Psychology showed that physical activity has a positive effect on psychological resilience and mental health. People who exercise regularly are better equipped to handle stress. When you exercise, your body releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. According to research in Frontiers in Psychiatry, this compound improves mood and stress resilience. It's like fertilizer for your brain, helping new neural connections grow. And that includes strengthening the pathway between your prefrontal cortex and amygdala. Let me break down exactly what happens in your body when you move. When you exercise, your heart rate increases. Blood flow to your brain surges, and your body releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that create what's called a runner's high. But that's just the beginning. Research in PMC on physical activity explains that regular exercise improves the functioning of your HPA axis. That's the system controlling cortisol release. It restores balance, it lowers inflammation, and it increases something called BDNF, which helps protect against cognitive decline. A study on Chinese college students found that resilience and exercise tolerance mediate the positive effects of physical activity on emotional states. What this means is, the more you exercise, the more tolerant your body becomes to stress itself, and the more resilient you feel when life gets hard. And here's something powerful. Research from Nature Scientific Reports showed that physical exercise improves mental health through emotion regulation and self-efficacy. In other words, Exercise doesn't just make your body stronger, it makes your mind stronger too. Now, how much exercise do you actually need? The World Health Organization recommends 150 to 300 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. That's about 20 to 40 minutes per day. A study in Frontiers in Psychology found that even just 6 weeks of low to moderate intensity aerobic exercise resulted in significant improvements in depression and stress levels. You don't need to kill yourself at the gym. What counts as exercise? Walking briskly through your neighborhood, swimming laps at the community pool, dancing in your living room to your favorite music, riding a bike to the grocery store, even doing yoga at home. The key is making movement a regular part of your life. Research from Frontiers in Psychiatry found that a 9-month study of yoga practitioners showed a 40% decrease in emotional reactivity to stressors. That's compared to only 15% in conventional exercisers. Mindfulness-based exercise, like yoga or Tai Chi, might give you extra resilience benefits. Now we come to the third pillar, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable. I'm talking about sleep. A meta-analysis and systematic review found a positive correlation between sleep quality and resilience, sleep duration and resilience, and all aspects of mental toughness. According to research in PMC, improving sleep quality leads to better mental health, and they found a dose-response relationship. That means the more you improve your sleep, the more your mental health improves. What happens when you don't sleep enough? Your amygdala goes into overdrive. Research found by Nature Scientific Reports documented a 60% increase in amygdala activity in response to emotional situations when sleep quality was poor. That alarm system we talked about? It gets louder and harder to control. And here's something that might scare you. Research from the American Psychological Association analyzed over 50 years of research and found that sleep loss undermines emotional functioning in multiple ways. It increases anxiety. It worsens depression. It reduces your ability to experience positive emotions. Sleep isn't optional. Let me tell you what's actually happening in your brain while you sleep. This is fascinating stuff. During deep sleep, your brain is doing critical maintenance work. It's consolidating memories. It's clearing out toxins. It's repairing the connections between your prefrontal cortex and amygdala. Research published in Frontiers in Psychiatry showed that poor sleep quality diminishes resilience in college students. It leads to emotional instability, decreased cognitive functioning, and difficulty overcoming challenges. Without sleep, your brain literally can't recover. And according to research from PLOS One, psychological resilience actually mediates the association between sleep quality and anxiety symptoms. What does that mean? It means sleep builds resilience, and that resilience protects you from anxiety. High-quality sleep strengthens resilience, allowing you to maintain or restore your mental well-being. Think of sleep as the time when your brain charges its batteries, repairs its circuits, and gets ready to face another day. Skip it, and you're running on empty. So how do you actually improve your sleep? A study published in Applied Psychology found that a nightly gratitude practice positively influenced sleep quality and duration. People who focused on grateful thoughts before BED slept better than those who didn't. Here are the basics of good sleep hygiene. Go to bed at the same time every night, even on weekends. Make your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. Stop looking at your phone at least 1 hour before sleep. That blue light disrupts your melatonin. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Don't eat heavy meals close to bedtime. Research discussed in the Journal of JMIR Mental Health found that sleep quality and mood have a significant bidirectional effect on each other. When you sleep better, your mood improves, and when your mood improves, you sleep better. It's a positive cycle once you get it started. And remember, according to Nature Scientific Reports research, psychological resilience can enhance sleep quality by diminishing psychological distress. So as you build resilience through other practices, your sleep will naturally improve too. The fourth pillar of emotional resilience is something so simple yet so powerful that it might surprise you. I'm talking about gratitude. A systematic review and meta-analysis in PMC found that gratitude interventions led to 6.86% higher life satisfaction, 5.8% better mental health, and lower symptoms of anxiety and depression. Think about that for a moment. Simply focusing on what you're thankful for changes your brain chemistry, improves your mood, and builds your resilience. And it costs nothing. According to research at Virginia Commonwealth University, people who regularly practice gratitude are better able to cope with challenges and recover from difficult situations. They develop what researchers call emotional resilience. And here's the neuroscience behind it. A 2015 study using fMRI brain scans found that practicing gratitude lights up the prefrontal cortex, that control center we talked about earlier. It also boosts serotonin and activates dopamine, your brain's pleasure chemical. Gratitude literally rewires your brain for happiness. Let me explain how gratitude builds resilience. Research published in the Journal of Happiness Studies found that gratitude lessened mental health difficulties during the COVID-19 pandemic. People who practiced gratitude experienced less anxiety increase than those who didn't. What happens when you practice gratitude? It shifts your attention away from negative emotions. Instead of thinking about your problems, you start noticing your blessings. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you appreciate what you have. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you remember what went right. According to research from Greater Good Berkeley, it was the lack of negative emotion words, not the abundance of positive words, that explained why grateful people had better mental health. Gratitude helps you stop ruminating on toxic feelings like resentment and envy. Research discussed in a meta-analysis of 64 clinical trials showed that gratitude exercises can lead to a 7.76% reduction in anxiety symptoms and 6.89% reduction in depression. And all you have to do is start noticing what's good. So how do you actually practice gratitude? One of the most studied methods is called the 3 Good Things exercise. Every night, before you go to sleep, write down 3 things that went well that day. They don't have to be big things. Maybe your morning coffee was perfect. Maybe someone held the door for you. Maybe you saw a beautiful sunset. Maybe your child made you laugh. The key is training your brain to notice the positive. Research from PMC on gratitude interventions for workers found that both paper-based and web-based gratitude lists were effective. You can use a fancy journal, a simple notebook, or even an app on your phone. What matters is that you do it regularly. And here's a bonus technique. According to research in the field, expressing gratitude to others is even more powerful. Write a letter to someone who helped you. Send a text thanking a friend. Tell your family member what you appreciate about them. This doubles the resilience benefit for you and for them. The 5th pillar, and this one is critical, is social connection. According to research published in PMC, social connection is widely acknowledged to be a fundamental human need. It's linked to higher well-being, greater safety, and longer lifespan. Humans are not meant to be alone. We are wired for connection, and when we don't have it, our mental and physical health suffers. A study in psychiatry research found that people with high perceived social support have a 63% lower risk of depression. Research from PMC on social support found that social support is essential for maintaining physical and psychological health. Rich social networks reduce risky behaviors, prevent negative thinking, and help people use active coping mechanisms when facing stress. And here's what the American Psychological Association said in their resilience report. Many studies show that the primary factor in resilience is having caring and supportive relationships. Relationships are the #1 predictor of resilience. Let me explain how relationships protect you at the biological level. Research shows that social support may moderate genetic and environmental vulnerabilities to mental illness. It does this partly through effects on your stress hormone system. When you have strong social support, your body releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. This research explains that oxytocin can dampen your HPA axis activity, which means lower cortisol. Having friends literally helps calm your stress response. Research published in BMC Psychiatry found that social support moderates the relationship between resilience and mental health during stressful times. People with high social support are protected even when their resilience is lower. And according to research from Springer, psychological resilience actually mediates the relationship between social connectedness and mental well-being. In simple terms, social connections help you build resilience, which then protects your mental health. It's a beautiful chain of support. Now, how do you actually build stronger social connections? Start with the people already in your life. Call a family member you haven't spoken to recently. Text a friend just to check in. Have lunch with a coworker. Join a local club or community group. Research from Greater Good Berkeley emphasizes that what matters is quality, not just quantity. Having a few deep relationships is more protective than having many shallow ones. Focus on building trust and intimacy with the people who matter most. A study during COVID-19 lockdowns found that people who had contact with a greater number of people reported lower levels of stress, worry, and fatigue. Social connectedness lowered against negative health outcomes, even during extreme uncertainty. And here's something powerful. Research shows that finding purpose often comes through being engaged with meaningful activities that help other people. Giving support is just as beneficial as receiving it. Volunteer, help a neighbor, be there for a friend. The resilience benefits go both ways. The sixth pillar of emotional resilience is cognitive reframing. This is the practice of changing how you think about stressful situations. Research from Oxford Academics shows that reappraisal, changing how you interpret an emotional event, is one of the most powerful emotion regulation strategies. Think about it this way. When something bad happens, you have a choice about how to interpret it. Did you fail, or did you learn something? Is this a disaster, or is this an opportunity? Are you stuck, or are you being redirected? According to neuroscience research, when you practice reappraisal, activity in your prefrontal cortex increases while activity in your amygdala decreases. You're literally strengthening the brake system on your emotional alarm. The research shows that amygdala prefrontal functional connectivity predicts how successful someone is at regulating their emotions. And here's the good news. This connection gets stronger with practice. Every time you choose to reframe a negative thought, you're building your resilience muscle. Let me teach you the exact process of cognitive reframing. When you notice a negative thought, stop. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it true? Is there another way to look at this situation? For example, let's say you make a mistake at work. Your automatic thought might be, I'm such an idiot. I'm going to get fired. But is that helpful? Probably not. Is it true? Probably not entirely. What's another way to see it? I made an error. I can learn from this. I'll do better next time. Research on emotion regulation shows that cognitive strategies play a crucial role in buffering the effects of stress. By changing how you interpret events, you prevent negative emotions from escalating and impacting your sleep and mental health. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about being fake positive or denying reality. It's about seeing the full picture. Yes, bad things happen. But there's usually also a silver lining, a lesson, or a path forward. Resilient people train themselves to find it. Let's go deeper into what happens in your body when you experience stress. Understanding this will help you recognize when your alarm system is going off, so you can do something about it. When you perceive a threat, your amygdala sends a distress signal to your hypothalamus. Research from PMC explains that this triggers your HPA axis to release CRH, which then releases ACTH, which then causes your adrenal glands to pump out cortisol. This happens in seconds. Your heart starts beating faster, your muscles tense up, your breathing becomes shallow, your digestion slows down. Blood rushes to your major muscle groups. This is your body preparing to fight or run. And here's what's incredible. Research shows that through practices like exercise and mindfulness, you can train your body to have a smaller stress response. Your baseline cortisol gets lower, your recovery gets faster. You become like a thermostat that stays cooler under pressure. Most people are stuck in a vicious cycle. Stress causes poor sleep. Poor sleep causes more stress. More stress leads to unhealthy coping, overeating, drinking, avoiding exercise. And those behaviors cause even more stress. But now you understand how to break this cycle. According to Frontiers in Psychology research, resilience helps individuals adapt to stress and cope with difficult situations more effectively. And resilience can be built through the practices we've discussed. Here's the beautiful thing about these 6 pillars. They reinforce each other. Exercise helps you sleep better. Better sleep improves your mood. Better mood makes you more grateful. Gratitude strengthens your relationships. Strong relationships reduce stress. Lower stress lets you think more clearly and reframe negative thoughts. It becomes a virtuous cycle instead of a vicious one. Research from Nature Communication Psychology found that better emotion regulation and psychological flexibility were related to more resilient responses to stress. Everything works together. Let's put this all together into a practical morning routine that builds resilience. Research shows that morning cortisol levels are particularly important, and mindfulness can reduce them. Start your day with just 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Sit quietly. Focus on your inhale and your exhale. When thoughts come, let them pass like clouds. This sets a calm foundation for your entire day. Then, move your body. Even 10 minutes of stretching or a short walk can activate those feel-good brain chemicals. Research from Frontiers in Psychology showed that regular physical activity was negatively correlated with depression and anxiety. Before you leave the house, think of one thing you're grateful for today. According to gratitude research, this activates your reward circuitry and boosts those positive neurotransmitters. You're priming your brain for a good day. Now let's design your evening routine. This is critical for preparing your body and mind for restorative sleep. Research shows that bedtime gratitude practices improve sleep quality. 1 hour before bed, put away your devices. The blue light disrupts melatonin production. Instead, connect with someone you love. Have a real conversation. Research confirms that social support helps regulate your stress hormones. Write in your gratitude journal. According to the 3 good things method, note 3 positive moments from your day. This trains your brain to scan for the good rather than ruminating on the bad. Finally, spend 5 to 10 minutes in quiet meditation or deep breathing. Research published in Health Psychology found that this practice helps lower cortisol and improves sleep. You're setting yourself up for deep, restorative rest. Now let's zoom out to your weekly plan. Building emotional resilience isn't about one perfect day, it's about consistent habits over time. An umbrella review in Frontiers in Psychiatry analyzed over 500,000 participants and found that resilience-promoting interventions have a real positive effect. Aim for 150 minutes of physical activity spread throughout your week. That's just 20 to 30 minutes most days. Research shows a positive correlation between physical activity and psychological resilience in students. Schedule at least one meaningful social connection per week: a coffee with a friend, a phone call with family, a meal with colleagues. According to research, even during difficult times, social connectedness buffers against negative health outcomes. Every week, reflect on your progress. What challenges did you face? How did you respond? What could you do differently? This metacognition, thinking about your thinking, is itself a resilience practice. Now, let's be real. There will be days when everything falls apart, when you can't stick to your routine, when stress overwhelms you, when your amygdala wins. And that's okay. Research from Nature Mental Health reviewed 193 longitudinal studies and found that resilience is not a fixed trait. It fluctuates over time. Everyone has ups and downs. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. When things get tough, return to the basics. Take 3 deep breaths. Call someone who cares about you. Go for a short walk. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Get to bed on time tonight. Remember what the research says. According to studies on emotional regulation, even small interventions have favorable effects on mental distress and resilience factors. Every tiny step counts. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep going. Let me introduce a powerful concept, the recovery mindset. Resilience isn't about never falling down, it's about getting back up. Research on resilience theory explains that resilient people experience hardship, but they find ways to move forward. According to the research, resilient individuals have a positive sense of themselves and an ability to confront adversity. With resilience comes strength and the capacity to find hope and meaning in life. When you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What would a resilient person do in this situation? This isn't toxic positivity. This is active problem solving combined with emotional acceptance. Research shows that positive emotions like hope cultivate resilience and well-being. And here's the secret. You don't have to feel positive to act positive. The actions come first. The feelings follow. I promised earlier to share specific breathing techniques. These are powerful tools you can use anywhere, anytime, to calm your stress response fast. The first technique is called 4-7-8 breathing. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 7 counts. Breathe out through your mouth for 8 counts. Research discussed in various studies shows that structured breathwork can significantly reduce cortisol. The second technique is box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts. This is used by Navy SEALs to stay calm under extreme pressure. Here's why these work. When you extend your exhale, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. You're literally signaling to your body that you're safe. Try it right now. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, exhale slowly. Feel that calm washing over you. Let's talk about the body-mind connection. Your emotions don't just exist in your head, they show up in your body. Anxiety creates tension in your shoulders. Fear makes your stomach churn. Sadness makes your chest feel heavy. Research on emotion regulation shows that your body and brain are in constant communication. When you relax your body, you send calm signals to your brain. When you tense your body, you send alert signals. So here's a practical technique, the body scan. Lie down or sit comfortably. Starting from your toes, move your attention slowly up through your body. Notice any tension. Consciously relax each area. According to mindfulness research, becoming more aware of your mental states increases activity in the prefrontal cortex and helps you better regulate your emotional center. Awareness itself is a form of control. Here's a simple but powerful technique, emotion labeling. When you feel something intense, name it. Say to yourself, I am feeling anxious, or this is frustration. Research from the Melissa Institute explains that learning to label and tame emotions is a key skill for building resilience. When you name an emotion, you activate your prefrontal cortex, which helps calm the amygdala. It's like the emotion is a wild horse, and labeling it puts a saddle on it. You're not riding the emotion, you're observing it, understanding it, and eventually guiding it. This works because language is processed in the thinking parts of your brain. By using words to describe your feelings, you automatically shift activity from the emotional centers to the rational centers. It's a simple trick that takes seconds, but it can completely change how you experience difficult emotions. Let's talk about self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to handle challenges. Research from Nature Scientific Reports found that self-efficacy mediates the relationship between exercise and mental health. People with strong self-efficacy don't avoid challenges, they embrace them. They believe, I've handled hard things before, I can handle this too. This belief itself becomes protective. How do you build self-efficacy? Start with small challenges and master them. Celebrate your wins, even the tiny ones. Remember past successes when facing new obstacles. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. According to research, self-efficacy is negatively related to symptoms of distress after stress. The more you believe in yourself, the less stress hurts you. And self-efficacy grows every time you prove to yourself that you can. Here's a reframe that can change your life. When you feel stressed, instead of thinking, I'm threatened, think, I'm challenged. Research shows that how you interpret stress determines how your body responds to it. A threat response floods you with cortisol. A challenge response gives you energy without the harmful effects. Athletes understand this. Before a big game, their hearts race, their muscles tense. But they interpret this as their body getting ready to perform. They see it as excitement, not fear. Next time your heart pounds before a presentation, or your palms sweat before a difficult conversation, try telling yourself, my body is preparing me to perform well. This simple shift can transform stress into strength. One of the deepest sources of resilience is finding meaning in adversity. Research on resilience shows that people who hold a sense of purpose and a future-focused mindset report higher resilience and life satisfaction. This doesn't mean pretending bad things are good. It means asking, how can this experience make me wiser, stronger, more compassionate? Even the worst experiences can become sources of growth if we choose to learn from them. According to the neuroscience of resilience, resilient people make meaning of hardship and find positives in the challenges they face. They are more optimistic, more hopeful, and they eschew negativity. I've seen people transform their darkest moments into their greatest strengths. The illness that taught them what really matters. The job loss that led to their true calling. The heartbreak that helped them find themselves. Meaning is where resilience is born. Let's connect this to the concept of growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. They see challenges as opportunities, not threats. Research on resilience found that psychological resilience reflects an individual's capacity to effectively cope with stressors and setbacks. It includes the capacity to maintain determination and confidence under pressure. When you have a growth mindset, failure isn't final, it's feedback. Struggle isn't suffering, it's strengthening. Obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. This mindset is especially powerful for building resilience because it means no situation is truly hopeless. There's always room to learn, to adapt, to grow. And every challenge you face becomes a chance to prove how capable you are. Here's something important that many people get wrong. Resilience is not about avoiding negative emotions. It's about accepting them and moving forward anyway. Research on psychological flexibility shows that being able to adapt and be flexible is related to more resilient stress responses. Fighting against your emotions, resisting them, actually makes them stronger. Imagine your negative emotions are quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. But if you accept you're in quicksand and calmly work to get out, you can escape. According to resilience research, resilience can help individuals adapt to stress and cope with difficult situations more effectively, which in turn can reduce anxiety levels. The path out of difficult emotions goes through them, not around them. Let's go deeper into how relationships build resilience. The American Psychological Association states that caring and supportive relationships are the primary factor in resilience. When you have someone who believes in you, it's easier to believe in yourself. When you have someone to talk to, problems seem more manageable. When you have someone who cares, you have a reason to keep fighting. Research from PMC found that social support was a protective factor for both depressive symptoms and disorders. The findings were consistent across a variety of settings and populations. But here's something even more powerful. Research shows that being engaged with meaningful activities that help other people is a route to feelings of purpose and meaning, which are great sources of resilience. Giving support builds resilience just as much as receiving it. Now, not all relationships build resilience. Some relationships drain it. Research on resilience noted that negative experiences with social support can actually be a risk factor for poor mental health outcomes. If someone consistently makes you feel bad about yourself, if they dismiss your feelings, if they add stress instead of relieving it, that relationship might need boundaries or distance. Resilient people understand the difference between challenge and toxicity. A friend who gives you honest feedback is helping you grow. A person who constantly criticizes you is tearing you down. Protecting your mental health sometimes means making hard choices about who gets access to your life. This isn't about being cold or unforgiving. It's about recognizing that your energy is precious and you need to invest it wisely. Let's talk about something that affects almost everyone: technology. Constant connectivity can be a major drain on your resilience. The endless scroll, the comparison trap, the never-ending notifications. Research on stress reduction shows that when the brain is not engaged in higher-order thinking, it activates the default mode network, which is linked to lower mental health outcomes. Scrolling mindlessly through social media keeps your brain in this default mode. It triggers comparison, envy, and FOMO. It fragments your attention. It steals time from the activities that actually build resilience. Try this. Designate 1 hour each day as completely device-free. Use that time for one of the resilience-building activities we've discussed. Meditate, exercise, connect with someone face-to-face, journal. Your brain will thank you. Here's something powerful. Nature itself builds resilience. Time spent outdoors, surrounded by trees and greenery and fresh air, has measurable effects on your stress levels and mental health. Research shows that practices like mindful walking combine the benefits of movement and awareness. And doing this in nature amplifies the effects. The Japanese call it Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. Simply being in nature, paying attention to the sights, sounds, smells, has been shown to lower cortisol and improve mood. And here's something practical. You don't need a forest. Even a walk in a park, sitting in a garden, or tending to houseplants can help. Nature reminds us that we're part of something bigger, something that continues to grow and thrive despite every storm. Let's talk about mental flexibility, the ability to adapt your thinking to new situations. Research from Nature Communication Psychology shows that psychological flexibility is related to more resilient responses to stress. Rigid thinking makes you fragile. Things must be this way. There's only one solution. I always respond this way to that situation. Flexible thinking makes you resilient. What else could this mean? What other options do I have? How can I adapt to this new circumstance? Research on emotion regulation demonstrates that the ability to change your appraisal of situations is crucial for emotional well-being. The more ways you can see a situation, the more options you have for responding. And options are power. Now, resilience looks different at different stages of life. Research from BMC Psychiatry found that the sources of social support that matter most vary by age group. For young adults, peer relationships and autonomy are critical. For middle-aged adults, work relationships and family support matter most. For older adults, close relationships and sense of purpose become especially important. Research on aging shows that resilient older adults have lower mortality rates, better physical functioning, and lower risks of cognitive decline. Resilience becomes even more important as we age. The good news? According to research, the brain is highly plastic, meaning it can change and adapt at any age. It's never too late to build resilience, and it's never too early to start. If you have children, teaching them resilience is one of the greatest gifts you can give. Research from Frontiers in Psychology shows that adolescence is a critical period for developing emotional balance and coping skills. Model resilience for them. Let them see you handle stress calmly. Let them struggle a little. Don't solve every problem for them. Praise their effort, not just their outcomes. Help them name their emotions and talk about difficult feelings. Research shows that resilience can act as a buffer against the detrimental effects of stress in children. It promotes positive emotional and cognitive development. Children who learn resilience early carry that gift throughout their entire lives. They become adults who face challenges with confidence instead of fear. That's a legacy worth building. Let's talk about building resilience at work. Research from PMC on gratitude interventions found that programs helping workers become resilient educators through mindfulness and gratitude showed positive results for well-being. The workplace is full of resilience challenges. Demanding bosses, tight deadlines, difficult colleagues, uncertainty about the future. All of these require the same skills we've been discussing. Research shows that physical exercise helps regulate emotions and build self-efficacy in workplace contexts. Even short breaks for movement can reset your stress response during a tough workday. And here's a pro tip. According to research, expressing gratitude at work improves both your mental health and your relationships with colleagues. Thank a coworker today. Acknowledge someone's contribution. Watch how it transforms both of your days. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you watching this have experienced real trauma, abuse, violence, loss. And I want you to know, resilience is possible even after the worst experiences. Research from Nature Neuropsychopharmacology shows that about 25 to 35% of people who experience severe psychological trauma develop PTSD. But that means 65 to 75% do not. They find a way to recover. According to research on the neurobiology of resilience, the brain can learn to recover from traumatic emotional memories. Emotion regulation skills can be developed. The prefrontal cortex can regain control over the amygdala. If you've experienced trauma, please know that professional help is available. Therapists trained in trauma recovery can guide you through healing. And the skills in this video can support that process. You are not broken. You are healing. Let's do a quick inventory. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself in each of these areas? Mindfulness. Do you regularly take time to be present and aware? Movement. Are you getting consistent physical activity each week? Sleep. Are you prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality rest? Gratitude. Do you actively notice and appreciate the good in your life? Connection. Do you have supportive relationships you can rely on? Reframing. Can you find alternative perspectives in difficult situations? Research from Frontiers in Psychiatry analyzed protective factors for resilience and found that all of these elements contribute to resilient responses. Identify your weakest area. That's where to focus first. You don't have to be perfect at everything, but strengthening your weak links strengthens your entire chain. Let me share some common mistakes people make when trying to build resilience. Mistake 1. Trying to do everything at once. You'll burn out. Pick one habit and master it first. Mistake 2. Expecting instant results. Research shows that changes happen over weeks and months, not days. Mistake 3. Being too hard on yourself when you slip up. Resilience includes being kind to yourself. Research on self-compassion suggests that a less critical, less punishing, and more compassionate view of yourself accounts for better mental health. Mistake 4. Going it alone. Remember, social support is the primary factor in resilience. Ask for help. Build your team. Let people in. Let me give you some quick techniques you can use in the moment when stress hits hard. Technique 1. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. This pulls you into the present. Technique 2. Cold water on your face. This activates your dive reflex and instantly slows your heart rate. It's like a reset button for your nervous system. Technique 3. The 90-second rule. Research on emotions shows that emotional chemicals flush through your body in about 90 seconds. If you can wait it out without reacting, the intensity will pass. Keep these techniques in your back pocket. Use them when you feel overwhelmed. They won't solve your problems, but they'll help you respond to them more effectively. Resilience isn't about willpower, it's about habits. Research shows that even short programs of structured practice lead to real changes in stress markers and mental well-being. Attach new habits to existing routines. Gratitude after brushing your teeth. Deep breaths before starting your car. Movement when you wake up. Make the habits small enough that you can't say no. Track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. According to research on interventions, resilience-promoting interventions have real effects, but consistency is key. Remember, you're not just doing a breathing exercise, you're building a brain that handles stress better. You're strengthening neural pathways. You're becoming more resilient, one small action at a time. Let's create a blueprint for your support system. Research confirms that both the structural dimension, how many people you know, and the functional dimension, the quality of support, matter for resilience. Who can you call when you need emotional support? Someone who listens without judgment? Who can you call for practical help? Someone who could help you move or lend you money in an emergency? Who challenges you to grow? A mentor, a coach, or a friend who pushes you? Ideally, you want people in all of these categories. Research shows that different types of social support serve different functions for mental health. And remember, be that person for others too. According to research, giving support is just as beneficial as receiving it. The more you give, the more you get back. Let's think long-term. Resilience isn't a destination, it's a journey. Research from Nature Mental Health found that resilience fluctuates over time, influenced by development and environment. Your resilience today might be high. 6 months from now, you might face a challenge that tests it. The habits you build now will carry you through those hard times. Research shows that resilience programs can improve health behaviors like smoking cessation, diet, and physical activity. Building resilience has ripple effects across your entire life. Think of yourself 5 years from now. Imagine having 5 years of meditation practice, exercise, gratitude journaling, strong relationships, healthy sleep. Imagine how strong that version of you would be, how capable of handling whatever life throws at them. Here's something incredible. Emotional resilience doesn't just protect your mental health, it protects your physical health too. Research from RGA found that resilience in older adults is linked to lower mortality rates, better physical functioning, and lower risks of cognitive decline. For people with chronic diseases like diabetes, resilience is associated with better glycemic control and adherence to treatment. For cancer patients, Higher resilience means better recovery and higher survival rates. Research shows that resilience training programs can actually reduce blood pressure and improve quality of life in people with hypertension. Your mind and body are connected in ways we're only beginning to understand. Building resilience is an investment in your whole self. How do you know if you're becoming more resilient? Here are some signs to look for. You recover from setbacks faster than before. Challenges that used to overwhelm you now feel manageable. You catch negative thought spirals earlier and redirect them. Your relationships feel stronger and more supportive. Your sleep has improved. You notice more things to be grateful for. Research tools like the Connor-Davidson Resilience Scale are used by scientists to measure resilience, but you don't need a formal test. Just pay attention to how you handle difficulties compared to before. Progress might be slow, but remember, research shows that meditation interventions efficiently reduce cortisol, especially when practiced consistently. Every day you practice, you're getting better. Trust the process. I want to be clear about something. Building resilience through the habits we've discussed is powerful, but sometimes you need professional support. According to mental health research, only 10 to 25% of people with depression actually seek therapy. Don't be part of that statistic. If you're struggling, reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. If you've experienced trauma, a trained therapist can guide your healing. If depression or anxiety is significantly impacting your life, medication might help. If you feel hopeless or have thoughts of harming yourself, please reach out to a crisis line or mental health professional right away. The strategies in this video can support professional treatment. They can be part of your toolbox, but they're not meant to replace proper care when you need it. Taking care of your mental health is one of the bravest things you can do. Let's summarize your action plan. You now have 6 powerful pillars for building emotional resilience. 1. Mindfulness. Practice 5 to 20 minutes of present moment awareness daily. 2. Movement. Get 150 minutes of physical activity weekly. 3. Sleep. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality rest. 4. Gratitude. Write down 3 good things each night. 5. Connection. Nurture your supportive relationships. 6. Reframing. Challenge negative thoughts with alternative perspectives. Research confirms that higher income and socioeconomic status, better cognitive emotion regulation, and higher perceived social support are all associated with more resilient stress responses. Start with one pillar, master it, then add another. Within months, you'll have transformed how you respond to life's challenges. Here's a simple daily checklist you can use. Morning. Did I start with mindful breathing? Did I move my body? Did I set an intention for my day? Afternoon. Have I taken breaks? Have I connected with at least one person? Have I noticed something I'm grateful for? Evening. Did I practice gratitude journaling? Did I limit screen time before bed? Did I create a calm environment for sleep? Research shows that structured programs lead to favorable effects on mental distress and resilience factors. A checklist keeps you accountable. You don't have to check every box every day, but tracking your habits helps you see your progress and identify where you need more attention. Awareness is the first step to change. How do you make these changes stick? Research on habit formation gives us some clues. Start small. Tiny habits are easier to maintain than big ones. Be consistent. Same time, same trigger, every day. Forgive slip-ups. Missing one day doesn't erase all your progress. Find community. People who support your goals help you succeed. According to research, resilience factors can be protective against stress over time. The more you practice, the more natural these habits become. 1 year from now, you won't remember the effort this took. You'll just notice that you handle stress differently, that challenges don't shake you like they used to, that you have an inner strength you didn't have before. That's the power of consistent practice. One of the best things you can do is find accountability. Research confirms that social support is the primary factor in resilience. Find a friend who wants to build resilience too.
Check in with each other weekly. Join a meditation group or fitness class. Share your goals with your family so they can support you. Consider working with a coach or therapist. Research shows that social support fosters effective coping strategies and affects multiple neurobiological factors that support resilience. You don't have to do this alone. There's something powerful about telling another person, "This is what I'm working on." It makes it real, it holds you accountable, and it opens the door for them to support you on your journey.
I want you to think about your story. Not the story of what happened to you, but the story of how you responded, how you grew, how you became stronger. Research on meaning-making shows that resilient people find meaning in adversity. They create a narrative where challenges became opportunities for growth. What challenges have you already overcome? What did they teach you? How did they make you who you are today? How will future challenges be opportunities to grow even more? You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author of your response. Every chapter of your life, including the hard ones, can be part of a story of resilience. The story isn't over. The best chapters might still be ahead. Here's what I promise you. If you commit to building emotional resilience, your life will change. Research proves it. More resilient individuals experience higher levels of psychological well-being and optimal functioning. They adapt better. They cope better. They thrive. Stress won't disappear. Challenges won't stop coming. But your response will be different. You'll have tools. You'll have strength. You'll have the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. That's not just success. That's freedom. Freedom from being controlled by your emotions. Freedom from being paralyzed by fear. Freedom to live fully, even when life is hard. And that freedom is available to everyone who's willing to do the work. So, here we are. You've learned the science of what happens in your brain when stress hits. You've discovered the 6 pillars of emotional resilience. You have a clear action plan you can start tonight. Research from all the studies we've discussed points to one conclusion: resilience can be built. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's skill. And skills can be learned. Your first step? Choose one thing from this video and do it today. Maybe it's 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Maybe it's texting a friend to say you appreciate them. Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Just start somewhere. Remember, a study of over 500,000 participants confirmed that resilience-promoting interventions work. The science is clear. The path is laid out. Now it's your turn. Go out there and build the resilience that will carry you through everything life has to offer. You've got this.